Okay, guys, talking about vectors again. Today, just going forward with the vector stuff. Hey, let's go. Let's go. Okay. We talked about a vector. A vector is a quantity given magnitude and direction. A quantity represented by an arrow with magnitude and direction. We talked about that yesterday. Okay. We talked about how vectors have both horizontal and vertical components. So an x and y component, if you will, when drawn out. We talked about the direction, where this is 0, this is 90, just like in trig. Okay, we talked about that direction. We also talked about like 30 degrees south of east, or 40 degrees west of north, things like that. We talked about direction in that sense. Okay. We also talked about how magnitude represents length. Magnitude is the length of the vector itself, or length of the arrow, if you will. Okay. The last problem we did in class yesterday, I gave you the magnitude and direction. I said, draw a vector that represents an airplane going, I can't remember exactly, but like 300 miles per hour, 20 degrees south of west, maybe. Okay? Okay? All right.
You're pretty smart.
Oh, I know. Great memory. So, I gave you the magnitude and the direction, and then we found the x and y value, the horizontal and vertical components. All this problem is the exact opposite of that. I'm giving you vector r, here are its horizontal and vertical components. You need to find the magnitude and the direction that vector r is headed. Okay? So, what you're going to do is you're going to draw an arrow on a coordinate plane. Okay? So, here's my coordinate plane. Alright, it does not need to be a scale. Alright, you can label it. It does need to be at least somewhat in the right direction. That would probably help. Okay? A vector that goes -6 horizontally and +8 vertically is going to end up where?
In the
second quadrant, right? Okay? Okay? So here's our vector r. If you make a right triangle, you know that this is 8, this is -6 or 6, however you want to do it. Okay? So now we need to find the vector's magnitude, which means what again? Length. And we need to find its direction. Okay, which can either be measured from 0 degrees, or you can say so many degrees to the west of north, or so many degrees to the north of west. Okay, we're going to list it 3 ways, and all you decide what works best for you. How are we going to find the magnitude? Pythagorean theorem. Yep. Pythagorean theorem. -6 squared is 36. 8 squared is 64. So you got 36 plus 64 equals c squared. That's 100. So 100 equals c squared. So therefore c is 10, right? Okay? So the magnitude is 10. I'm going to write that over here. That would be your correct notation for magnitude. Remember, magnitude, you can put it in absolute value bars. Okay? So the magnitude of vector r is 10. Now in a story problem, it'll have a label like miles per hour or newtons of force or whatever it might be. Okay? But I was doing in general right here. Okay? So there's our magnitude, but now we need our direction. Okay? And no, northwest is not good enough. Okay? We need to be a little more accurate than just northwest. We need to have an actual degree measure. Leanna?
Since it's a right angle, do you just need to find that angle that's across from the 8?
Yep.
And then that'll be your reference.
Very good. You just need to find this angle right here in that right triangle. Okay? I would probably use what? Inverse tangent, right?
Yep.
Because the tangent of theta would equal 8 over negative 6. Now, here's something that's interesting, okay? So, if you type in inverse tangent of 8 over negative 6, your calculator is actually going to give you a negative answer. Okay? That negative answer is just the opposite of how many degrees this is right here. Okay? So when you go to do inverse tangent to find an angle here, you really don't have to worry about the negatives. Okay? If you just want to do inverse tangent of 8 over 6 instead of 8 over negative 6, do that. Or just know that when the calculator gives you a negative answer, alright, you can just change it to a positive. I don't care how you want to think of it.
What's the direction symbol?
We'll label it. I'll show you here in a second. What are you guys getting? I guess I'll set it up for the video here. So tangent of theta equals 8 over 6. So theta equals the inverse tangent of 8 over 6. So theta is about how much? 53.1. Is that to the nearest tenth?
Yes.
Okay. 53.1. Okay, so that angle right here is 53.1 degrees. So now I'm going to give you 3 different ways to label the direction. We got our magnitude done, okay? But now we also got to list the direction. Because this right here is 53.1 degrees, you could say, and this would probably be my choice so I don't have to think very hard, okay? I would probably just say 53.1 degrees north of west. Because that angle right there is 53.1, so I just need to go 53.1 degrees to the north of west, because this is straight west, right? This would be straight west, and if I go 53.1 degrees to the north of west, that would get me to that vector. That would be my personal choice, okay? So I'd say at 53.1 degrees north of west. There are 2 other ways you could put it, okay? If this is 53.1 degrees,
180 minus 53.
this amount from 0 all the way to the vector is 180 minus 53.1, which would be 126.9, okay? So you could just say at 126.9 degrees, and then you don't even need to label it. Because if you just say 126.9 degrees, I'm going to assume here's 0, here's 90, here would be 126.9 or whatever it was. Okay? So you don't even need to worry about the labeling of north, south, east, west if you just want to always measure how far it is from 0 to your vector. Okay? So if you're worried about the directions, and some people are that way, so totally fine. If you're worried about the directions, if you're just bad with directions, okay, then you can always just figure out what it would be from 0 all the way to that. Okay? The third way, okay, if this is 53.1, then this, just this part right here is how much?
90 minus 53.
90 minus 53.1, so 36.9. So you could also say it is 36.9 degrees what?
West of north.
West of north. Okay, 3 ways, I don't care which way, as long as they're all the right answer, okay? You do what one works best for you. Okay? So, guys, hey, if I give you horizontal and vertical components, can you do magnitude and direction?
Yes.
You'll use what 2 things? Pythagorean theorem, inverse tangent. Any questions on that?
No, sir.
Okay? Negative 3, 5, 4, negative 2. Okay, next type of problem. You'll want to have this one down. This one usually goose people up. Okay? So in this problem here, we're just working on the coordinate plane again.